Hello, Livestream Legends! Hello, and welcome to another episode of Livestream Legends. Today we have a brilliant show lined up for you guys. We are tapping into a little something called the virtual communication Trinity, a little secret sauce I found for how we can enhance our digital presence. So many of us have been thrown in the pool of Zoom meetings and webinars and all this digital stuff. Many of you are probably starting streaming. So that's why we have tackled this topic today of how can we level up our engagement, our presence when we come to these virtual situations like this. So super excited to bring in our guest today, who is a master in exactly this. So drop a quick little hello if you are here in the show. I see Mary Davis just hopped in, Chris Hennessy in the building, Dennis Herman's rocking and rolling with us. Let us know if you're in the mix and where you're coming in from. Would love to see who is hanging with us. So thank you for joining today's special episode of Livestream Legends with our guest, Alistair Davis. He is a communication coach, a voice actor, and the CEO of Jabba Training, where he helps people do exactly this. And I'm grateful he's sharing the secret sauce with us today. So please give a warm welcome to our special guest, Alistair Davis. What's good, brother?
Hey, Travis, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, if you couldn't tell. Excited for this one. I know, selfishly, I have many things I could pool and learn from everything that you've been doing. So I'm excited for a little double dip here to share your insights, your secret sauce with the audience here, as well as I'll be taking a few notes here on my end. So I gave a quick little brief intro, but is there anything to set the context for what we're chatting about today that you'd like to fill in, where you're coming from, what you do, how you help people? Let's just start there and see where it goes.
Yeah, sure. Maybe we should go to the beginning, before the time of dinosaurs, before dinosaurs roamed the earth. I'm not British, by the way. But I can do a good British accent if required. That's one of the things I do as a voice artist. No, I started speaking, selling when I was 5 or 6. At the time, my parents converted to being Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm no longer Jehovah's Witness, so we're not going to talk about that. It's not one of those shows. That's behind me. But that was the start of me using my voice, selling, communicating, because it was a hard sell, right? And yeah, that's why my nose is a little bit flat at the moment from all the doors slammed in my face. And then from there, started working for Oracle. So I was in IT sales for 10 years, then came back, started my own business, did an acting course, discovered I could do voiceovers and acting and really liked that. Then had a company, hated that, and said, right, I'm going to be a full-time actor and voice artist, and this is what I'm going to do. But I always love training. I always love
Mm.
development, coaching, seeing the aha moments in people's eyes when they go, that, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. Now you're talking. So I love that. And so that spawned jabbatraining.com, where I focused on teaching professionals, streamers, on how to communicate, how to use their voice and their body language using voice acting techniques that I've learned and acting techniques. And I've developed a curriculum around that, which is virtual, teaching people how to improve the way that they communicate, how the way that they sound, just to be better engagers, communicators, getting that connection with their audience. Because that's the thing with this whole virtual thing, is that people are saying, we can't connect. It's so hard to engage people
Yeah.
if they're listening.
Oh,
So
love it.
that's the long story short.
Hey, I'll take it. Quick hello to Sam joining us over on YouTube. I see Margot has hopped in. Welcome to the party. Before we jump into things, let's hear the context from you guys here in the audience. Let us know your level of streaming or your level of confidence in these virtual realms. If you're completely new, just drop new. If you're in the mid-level, drop mid. Or if you would consider yourself a pro in this category, drop the word pro. And we'll adjust our language and everything we're going into today based on where you guys are at, essentially. I know I'm kind of in the mid level of these things, and definitely plenty of areas to level up. But what really attracted me to this conversation is a formula or a program or system. I don't know exactly what it is, but you call it the virtual communication Trinity. And it's essentially these pillars that set us up for success in a virtual communication environment, which sounds super valuable for my world. And I think many of the people here. So what's the best way to tap into this adventure? I know this is a big you have your entire program kind of based around this concept, and levels and phases that people can continually grow. But how do we get better at this? Besides just firing up the stream, which is my strategy, and when things go wrong or get awkward, I'm like, oh, I should probably do less of that. That's about my only system here. How can we systemize this? How can we approach this adventure of leveling up our digital presence and communication?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I think maybe we should take a step back and think about the psychology of nonverbal cues, because when we speak, we communicate with words, we communicate with our tone, and we communicate with our body. Those three things are communicating attitudes and feelings, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is drawn from research from a professor called Professor Albert Mehrabian, and his research is still spoken about today. People still reference it and say it and write about it, but they are often misunderstood about what he said. And he said that when we communicate our attitudes and feelings, 55% of our attitudes and feelings are communicated visually. In other words, how we look, our body language, facial language, eyes, all of these
Mm-hmm.
things. 38% vocal tone and 7% words. Attitudes and feelings, not facts, attitudes and feelings. So when you are selling, when you are presenting, when you are streaming, your audience are picking up on those non-verbal cues, the things that are going on underneath the surface. And as communicators, we need to make sure that our vocal variety, we're bringing it, right? We're not
Mm-hmm.
sounding like a meditation track or a hypnosis track where we're talking like this the whole time and we're going, you know, and then the audience will just switch off and go, what the hell's going on here? This guy, he's bored. He doesn't know what he's talking about. All of these things are being communicated subliminally.
Mm-hmm.
And so we need to make sure as communicators that we're really communicating through our webcam, through whatever camera we're using. And the virtual communication Trinity is, as you said, 3 pillars because it's a Trinity. Duh. So the first pillar is around production and platform. So what is your lighting like? What is your sound like? What is your background like? Your clothing? all of those things, the controllable elements.
Yeah.
Then the platform. So are you using Restream? Are you using other streaming platforms, Zoom, Google Meet,
Sure.
whatever it is you're using? Are you using those two? And essentially, platform and production are controllable because you can learn those, you can buy stuff, you can buy better lights, better mic. All of those things are quite controllable. The second pillar is our physicality. So what is our body language like? Our eyes, our hands, our gestures. Are we jumping around all the time? What is that saying? And then the third is our vocal tonality. Because vocal tonality and body language need to work together. They need to synchronize. And this goes back to the research from Professor Morabian. He said that when we communicate, our tone, our word, and our physicality, they all need to work together. Because people will pick up what's going on because the attitudes and the feelings are being communicated subliminally through the voice and the body language. I mean, if I said to you today, Travis, hi, Travis, oh, so excited to be here today. Oh, it's going to be so cool. Really pumped. Oof. You go, I mean, I'm being
okay,
ridiculous.
Bro.
I'm being ridiculous to highlight a point, right? But that's what's going on. And people will feel you. They'll go, yeah, I'm not feeling this guy. He's saying the words or he's doing his stuff, but I'm not feeling him.
Well, no, yeah, the stat that's still ringing in my head was that only 7% of the impact of your communication is the actual words you use, which is just seems so counterintuitive because everybody's always thinking, okay, what bullet points do I need? What questions do I need to ask? What make sure I need to say this, phrase this way, and if we're thinking of impact and efficiency of where we can invest our energy, it sounds like that's actually the least effective area to invest in versus learning how to control your tone, control your room, your lighting, your production, and then even I think physicality, that you briefly mentioned, is a whole nother animal to crack open. Yeah. But that's just amazing to hear. I think Chris is resonating with this, saying it's something that he needs to focus on as well, as he tends to slouch or kind of chill out when the guest is talking. I notice that too. I look down a lot. I look at different things, but being locked in, I know I can feel it when I'm on the receiving end of it. So I'm certain that there are others in the same boat.
Yeah, just on the point of energy. So I want to ask you, have you ever seen a TEDx speaker sit and present?
Sit and present? No.
Yeah.
No, now that you mention it,
no. We've got our next TEDx speaker. He's coming in and he's going to sit down. Wait, what? Why is he sitting? Is he tired or what the hell's going on? And the reason why I'm saying stand for more energy is it's physiological, right? So when you're standing, your lungs have more space to fill up with air. They say you breathe 4.5% less in terms of your respiration rate.
Ooh.
You take in 17.2% more volume of air and 17.5% more O2, more oxygen. So with that extra air and O2 and less respiration, you will be more energetic. You will be able to say more things because you'll have more air, because sound is made from air going in your lungs, your diaphragm expanding and contracting, pushing the air up, creating this pressure in your larynx. You make sound. If you've got more air, you've got more O2, you'll make more sound. You can say more things. Also, if you stand, you have more of an alpha posture and you can use these more.
Yes.
So your
hand gestures.
You're not so sedentary. So standing just gives you more dynamic range in terms of your physical performance, but also your vocal performance, because you're getting more air into your actual engine, this vocal engine that you're using.
Interesting. So I'm realizing in real time I need a standing desk in my life is where I'm at with this one. Oh. Here, let me pull these off. Yeah, so a few people that are rolling in here on this one are dropping some questions.
Sure.
Alistair is hooking us up with the secret sauce, the formula of his communication trinity. And we've been chatting about production, physicality, and tone, your voice and everything here. But this is Anna Maria, is asking, aren't these natural tendencies? So maybe I think this is in reference to maybe slouching or kind of losing your energy or something. If we start controlling that, is there any concern of it feeling inauthentic or disingenuous, as she phrased
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. No, that's a good point. I mean, I was doing some coaching with two Australian biotech. They had a biotech fund and they had to get $100 million into this biotech fund. And so they had to go out on the road to get investors to invest in this biotech fund. And they had to do this virtually. So I was coaching them and they were in Australia. And I was talking to one of the chief investment officer, we'll call him Peter.
Sure.
And I said to him, Peter, listen, I'm not feeling you. I just need more energy. I need more warmth. I need more smile, because you're saying all these things, but I'm not like on your side. I'm not going to give you $100K or whatever to invest in your fund.
Yeah.
And he said to me, you know, Alistair, I like what you're saying about the energy and the smile, but in Australia we have this thing called the tall poppy syndrome, where we don't like to stand out. And I feel if I give too much energy and smile, I'll look like that bloke Tony Robbins. And people will think I'm inauthentic. They'll say, like, you're not being true to yourself. And I said, no, you're not doing that. And I think the problem with a camera, any camera, is it flattens us. It makes us less than. It reduces us somewhat. So for us to really communicate through that webcam to our audience, we need to give a little bit more, just a little bit more, and record yourself on your streaming platform, on Zoom or whatever, and get an opinion from somebody to calibrate your performance, because calibrating your performance is key. Most people need more, but there are a small percentage of the population that are a bit too much,
Yeah.
like, hey, and then it's just like, whoa, just take a chill pill, bro. It's too much.
No, that's brilliant. I know that's been a concern of mine. I've kind of noticed when I hop on stream, I jump into this a few of the fans here call it the game show host voice. And I suddenly like turn into this, hey. So I am trying to navigate that spectrum, because I know prior to this, I was on the polar opposite end of this, where like pretty much the monotone example dude you had earlier today was me, because I would just casually talk and all I cared about was the words. If the words came out, then my job was done. And the deeper you go into streaming, that reference of it flattening you or kind of diluting your energy a little bit is absolutely true. So I know that's something to toy with, that spectrum, but in most cases for everybody here, the feeling of leveling it up is always going to feel more amplified in your head versus what comes actually through on the camera. So even though you feel like a hyper, you're in like a whole nother world, like, oh my God, I probably look crazy. Only a portion of that is coming through all the way to the other side. So it's not as critical as some people think, I think.
We're very subjective about our performances, because we have this subjective view of what good sounds like and what good looks like. And we go, oh no, I couldn't do that. No, it looked weird. I mean, people just, they won't like me, because we have that thing, right? But we are not the best judges of our vocal or physical performance. And what I say to people is, get 20 to 30% outside of your comfort zone and see what happens, because that's where the magic happens. And you'll know this, Travis, when you're doing sound production. You do a sweep on the EQ, right?
Yep.
and you find this, you find that frequency that's not working. And what you do is you go
Yes.
all the way up, and then you bring all the
Cut it
way
out.
down, and then you go, that's the spot. That's
Yep.
the spot. That's where it's at. So, be ridiculous in the way that you sound and look. And from that, you will uncover some nuggets, and you'll go, shit, that actually, I actually sound quite cool. I actually look quite cool.
Yes.
And that could be me doing the intro. That's my intro right there. Or this is me as the pensive thinker type person. And so you've got, because we've all got different flavors, different colors. We're not monochrome people. We have a range, and it's about exploring that range and making that range authentic for you. Don't try and be Al Pacino or somebody else, or just be you, but within your range.
Amazing. No, that's a brilliant way to reframe it. So for Anna Maria, who dropped that question, thank you so much. That is a genuine concern. But I think, if you stay in the zone of thinking of it more like an amplifier or an amplification of what you're already doing, rather than you don't have to say stuff and do stuff that you wouldn't ever actually do. But when you do emphasize, if you are using a hand gesture, make it a little bit stronger, emphasize it and kind of just crank it up a little bit. So you don't, you're not doing inauthentic things that you normally wouldn't, but you can kind of just crank up the dial is what I'm learning and seeing here. So, lots of people hopping in here. Katie J is in the building. Good to see you, Kenneth, as well as Powered Up Art, rocking and rolling. And Chris, with a quick little sneaky question here. I need to know how you do the voice effects. So for the people that don't have voice acting talent like him, I actually am using a tool called the Go XLR, which has a bunch of audio effects and stuff that you can integrate into it, Chris. So that's currently what I'm using. And Anna Maria drops another comment here, which I have also noticed. I'm in the same category here. When she records a video, a static video, I'm assuming like pre-recorded, she really slows down. And in any live communication, she says she's much more energized. What is going on here? Because I'm in the same boat as this. I am awful at the empty room, camera in the corner type of videos. Dogs are looking up at me like I'm crazy. But when I jump onto live and there's this feedback loop or an actual human on the other side here, for some reason there's like a different energy. What's the deal with that? How do we leverage this to our advantage?
Yeah, I think when you're doing something live and the stakes are higher, there's a bit more stress, there's a bit more anxiety, and so we have a bit of nervous energy that's coming through. As performers, we need to make sure we can control that energy, because stress and anxiety will kill your performance.
Oof.
So what you need to do is you need to focus on breath and breath control, because breath and breath control is the foundation of a energetic vocal performance, but it's also the foundation of an energetic physical performance. Because when we start getting stressed, what happens is our breathing becomes shallow, and we go, and we're only breathing here very quickly because our cortisol levels are going up and we're getting stressed. And so when we're breathing quite shallowly, what happens is we don't have enough air. So we speed up and we keep going and we keep going. We get to the end of the sentence, take another breath, and then keep going, take another breath, keep going. And then we've got a steam train that just goes over the edge of the cliff. Whereas if you're getting more centered and you're breathing and you're saying, okay, I'll take a breath in, get the gas into my vocal engine for North America, or petrol to your vocal engine, rest of the world. You're controlling what's going into this engine, and you are controlling what's coming out. And if you are breathing effectively, not only are you fueling your energetic vocal and physical performance ×2, but you're also calming yourself down, lowering the cortisol levels. And that's what you want, because at some point, too much stress, too much anxiety, and then you just sort of like, everything just falls apart. And then some people have this deer in the headlight kind of,
Yeah.
shit, what's going on? Oh no, fuck.
Yep. Yep. No, and this is relevant to a comment slash question Dennis just dropped, which is sort of related to this stage anxiety and or like bringing ourselves back to some type of center point, because we're all human. The nerves are natural, but it's how we react to it and how we address it that determines how well we do once we're actually out there for the performance per se. So Dennis is asking, what is the best way to just avoid a total blackout when the stage is yours? So this might have been that moment you were just explaining of the deer in the headlights, like, oh, what did we just do here? I forgot my lines. I need to recover. What are our options here to A, avoid this entirely, but B, let's also tap into whenever this does happen, how do we pull ourselves back out and get back to home base?
It's a good question. I mean, for me, when you start a race, for me, that's the most important. Like if you think of Usain Bolt with 100 meters, the first 10 meters, if he fucks that up, he loses the race. Not always. I mean, he probably recovered.
Sure.
But if you, as a performer, as a streamer, just you need to nail the first minute or two, because that will bring down the tension, stress, and anxiety. Because after the first minute, 2, 3, 4 minutes, you're going, okay, I got it. I got this now. I've totally got it. And then everything calms down. But when you go on stage, that first minute, that first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, you're really stressed.
Yeah.
So fall back on preparation. Do a breathing exercise before you present. So I've done the 4-7-8 breath. There's box breathing. There's the 4-7-8 breath. There's the 4-4-6, the 4-4-4, which is basically breathing for 4 counts, hold for 7 counts, breathe out for 8 counts. That's the 4-7-8 breath. There's the 4 in, 4 hold, 4 out. There's the 4 in, 4 hold, 6 out. That type of breathing exercise to center you before you start presenting or streaming. But then just make sure that when you start, the first 5 minutes or 2 minutes or whatever it is, you know it so well. You can say it backwards, sideways, up, down, doesn't matter. You fall back on that preparation. Once you're going, your stress level should come down, and then the train is out the station. You should be fine.
Brilliant. Yeah, thank you, Dennis, for dropping that question. Everybody that is joining us, feel free to drop your questions, your commentary, your advice, your experience with this subject. We'd love to keep this. This is an open journey. We're all trying to figure out how to become Livestream legends together. Everybody that's joining us, we are tapping into the the communication Trinity, and a portion of that, we've been going over vocals and how to control your tone, your voice, and more importantly, actually, your breath. This has been the recurring theme and common thread that I've seen multiple times here, and we're only like 20 minutes into this. So breath work has extremely high value here, it seems. So thank you, Dennis, for dropping that. Everybody else that's here, thank you for joining. And this is an open conversation. So if you are curious or have your own challenges to work through, that's exactly what this medium is for. So hop in here if you got anything. We'll let you continue your adventure of the communication Trinity and what other pieces we can explore. So what's another piece of this equation that we can start focusing or being more mindful of our own performance per se?
Yeah, I think one of the things that is critical as a streamer, as a podcaster, is trying to avoid the filler words, the things that you put in the middle. And
Guilty.
a lot of people I had a podcast and I edited other people's podcasts, and you'd be surprised by how many times people went, and the problem is the word or so or whatever it is you use isn't the problem. It's what it communicates. And in a casual conversation, it's okay. You know, when you go to the ice cream shop and you go, I'll have the chocolate.
Yeah.
That's cool. Casually, filler words are cool, and we use them every single day. I've got a 4-year-old son. He uses filler words. But when we're on stage, when we're trying to sell an idea, a vision, or whatever it is, then the filler words need to be drastically reduced, or they got to go. And this is where the breath comes into play as well. Again, what you're looking to try and do is breathe, say a thought, pause, breathe, say a thought, pause, breathe, say a thought, and not go or ah in between. Just the realization of that will bring down the number of filler words. It's not a difficult technique to implement or try or do. I promise you, it's not very difficult at all. A couple of practice sessions, and your mind and your body will be going, okay, I got this. Yeah, all right. Breathe, say something. Don't go, don't go, don't go, okay, cool, got it. And eventually it becomes second nature.
No, I'm loving that a lot of this, that now that we're unpacking it and I'm kind of seeing what the method behind the madness is, a lot of this is coming back to general mindfulness. And then again, we just saw breathwork sneak in there one more time, even when we're talking about filler words and ums and uhs. Control. I'm like overthinking it now because now I'm thinking of utilizing your advice while running this at the same time. I'm like, all right, breath, thought, question. So we're making progress here in real time. Thank you all for joining us. Dennis drops a thank you for that brilliant answer. He's appreciative. Thank you, Dennis, for the question. You guys, if you have any, look at all these filler words I'm dropping here again as I look through the comments. There were a few questions that snuck in here, but I cannot find them because y'all are going crazy on the comments here. There it is. What is the worst experience you've had when speaking or presenting virtually? Let's unpack this micro adventure, because I know you got one. I know you got a good one. you got at least one hiding in there. What can you share, and maybe perhaps convert it into what lesson we can extract from this experience?
Well, I'll tell you a story of when I was acting when I was still an actor before COVID. COVID wiped it out. No, business has taken off, so acting has kind of taken a back seat. But I was on set, waiting in my caravan, had my costume on, waiting 3, 4, 5 hours, drinking lots of coffee, got called to set, director said action, and my voice disappeared, just gone, completely went. And it was a factor of tension, stress, and anxiety that have built up all through the day, having 20 cups of coffee and not having enough hydration. So if you are stressed and you don't have enough of this water, that's going to kill your voice. It's just going to go. But mainly stress and anxiety are performance killers. They are performance killers for voice. That is the opposite of what you want. You want to be as relaxed as you can be. And that's, again, why the breath is so important. I take my own medicine. When I go on stage, virtually or physically, I breathe. I do a breathe. I really do. I sit backstage and I'm 4, 7, 8 breath, 4, 7, 8 breath. Okay. Because when you go on stage, your heart's going, there's hundreds of people looking at you and you're like, shit. It's stressful. So getting that in and making sure you're hydrated, because these vocal folds of ours, they can go up to 1,000 times per second at the highest frequencies in a female, 500 times per second for a male. But they're really working hard. And if you're talking for 45 minutes or an hour, you need to have lubrication. So no cigarettes, but don't take a cigarette before you're going to go and do your streaming. Don't have 16 cups of coffee. I like coffee. Okay. I don't smoke anymore, but I like coffee. But try and avoid that and get well
Mm,
hydrated. About 20 minutes before you need to speak, because it takes about 20 minutes for the hydration to get to your vocal folds.
amazing. These are brilliant. So there we go. Disaster averted. Try to minimize stress the best you can, as well as add more water. Just add water, and that will put you in the right headspace to focus on what really matters. So I am scoping out the chat here again. Open convo. If y'all are just joining us, we're tapping into how do we optimize and level up our virtual communication now that we've all been pushed into pandemic era communication. This skill is becoming increasingly valuable. And to Chris here, you can find this streaming at the Beast Node. All one word is the Twitch channel. Thank you to Restream Rockin' and Rollin'. We are on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, as Chris just mentioned. Thanks to Restream. So anybody that is curious, there's a link in the description if you would like to get started streaming for free. It's super simple. Absolutely changed my world for sure. So if you are curious to join that journey or start that journey, hop in there. So let's take a peek and see if we have more questions sneaking in here. Filler words. And Chris is hopping out. Dennis is also on the way out. Thank you so much for joining us, brother. Appreciate you. So let's briefly chat while we got the room loaded up here. This is kind of the free sample size version of what you traditionally do for people through professional coaching programs, one-on-one stuff, group stuff. So in the interest of serving the people that we do have hanging with us, how do people start this journey to, if they want to level up their communication? We have kind of the basic foundations here. But for people that are committed to leveling up their communication, or if it has business and life benefits to them, how do they start that journey with you? What options do we have to connect y'all?
Okay, good. Thank you for that question. So with this in mind, I've got a free webinar that I'm hosting on June 10th, 5 p.m. CET. I think that's 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thursday, June 10th. That's a 25-minute webinar, which is free. And I talk around the virtual communication Trinity. I also talk around the 6 components of good speaking vocal tone, and then some simple tips and tricks to improve your engagement. So, everybody that I coach, from SAP to Salesforce, these companies, which I do that as a virtual class, everybody's saying engagement, trust. I don't know if people engaging with me, are they trusting me? Are they liking me because I can't see them? I'm not in the same room as them. What's going on? So, and voice is a big factor to building that connection, because the voice is really a good conveyor of emotion. It's really saying a lot about us. And people connect with that, and they connect with somebody who's warm, energetic, and giving a good vocal performance. That is what people really like. If you combine that with some good content, good facts, good stuff, then people love that. So we're planning to do, we're going to do the free webinar on June 10th, and then 2 weeks later, we're going to do a masterclass called The Power of the Voice, how to present, persuade, and negotiate effectively. And this class will be the same class that I've taught for the last 2 years to over 4,000 professionals globally.
Wow.
So, yeah. So 4,000 professionals globally, everybody virtual.
Yeah.
Everything is virtual.
Crazy.
It was face-to-face, actually. I had a one-day masterclass, and then SAP said to me, yeah, we like your masterclass, Alistair. We would like to make this a virtual class. Can you make this a 90-minute virtual class? And then, so we did.
Nice. Nope. This is the real deal. I've only been watching from the surface, and the further and further I get pulled into your world, I'm like, oh, there's levels to this. Oh, another level. And then even as you just alluded to, you had the six elements of vocal tone. Like there's a process, there's a formula to all of this, you guys. It's not just natural people that just turned on the charisma button one day. Like this is something you can actively work on. And there's deep levels to it, as I'm even discovering based on the questions here. Ian Cumming over on LinkedIn is dropping a question about entering the right hemisphere of our brain. So this is kind of in a high level, like in the moment. Maybe this is similar to like flow state type of theory. And he's mentioning some advice and insights here of how we can pull people towards getting into the right hemisphere of our brain. Is this something that you've heard in your realm? Is this something we can practice or do better? Let's unpack this and see where it goes.
From what I understand about my basic understanding of brain hemispheres, the right side is the creative side and the left side is the logical side. Am I right? Am I correct?
I know one is one. I don't know which is which, but we're good to continue with the theory. If y'all that are rolling with us have insights, this is a community experience. So if you have any input or advice, drop it in the comments here.
I think it's a good question, Ian. And I'm not a neuroscientist, and I'm not Sam Harris. I don't pretend to be. I've got his app.
Yeah.
And he's got some really amazing chats, and I do some meditation. But to get into the flow state, I think it's really a factor of being as relaxed as you can be, being really comfortable with your process, what you're doing, what you're saying. And from my perspective, I can only speak from my perspective and my methodology. I've really found and felt that if we bring it back, calm down, get into that flow state with focusing on the breath, you just have a better performance. You are way more energetic vocally, and you are way more energetic physically. And if you're standing, that just helps. I mean, I've got a standing desk right here, right now. And for all my important presentations, I don't stand for every meeting. I know I have friends who stand all day, but I don't stand for every meeting. But for the important ones like this, then I stand and I try and make sure that I'm breathing effectively. And that seems to work for me. I don't have any meditative answers to get to the right-hand side, Ian.
No worries. It looks like shortly after he actually did even drop some bonus round insights here about multi-syllable words. Throwing those in the mix can help you with speaking with intention, probably because you have to, get back on track before you attack a 7-syllable word. Thank you, Ian, for hopping in there. Appreciate you joining the conversation, asking some questions, sharing some insights. Hello to Ashok Media, rocking and rolling with us on YouTube. Welcome to the party.
The other thing I'd like to say is that there's recent research that has postulated that emotions are conveyed through the vowel sounds and facts through the consonants. So that's why babies talk in ga, ga, ah, ah, ah. And if you think about your favorite song right now, think about the chorus. It's vowel heavy. Lots of ah, ee, ah, ooh. That's where the emotion's coming through. And so as speakers as well, to add color and flavor, we can elongate certain vowel sounds. Amazing, wonderful. We're rocking and rolling. Those flavors are coming through the vowel sounds. So don't forget your adjectives. Don't forget certain words, trigger words. They're going to activate you and activate your audience and bring in those strong vowel sounds.
I will definitely be stealing those. The extended syllable is an easy win. You don't have to change much besides just level up what you were going to say and extend a single portion of it. Brilliant. Loving these insights. I will be utilizing very much of this, including the I think I'm getting converted to a standing desk live on air. You might need to get a standing desk partner or sponsor, because I see a few people in the chat that are in the same boat. So amazing. Yeah, we are approaching. We're in the second half of the show. So if you guys have a specific question or challenge or anything that you want to utilize this time for, drop it in the chat real quick, and we will attempt to tackle whatever we can here on this show and utilize this time the best we can. As Jackie is mentioning, I feel like every time I'm in flow state, I get interrupted. I have been there so many times before. So maybe this is something we can chat about, our focus and our control when we are in a presentation. I know myself, I'm in this, like, my mind runs a million miles an hour of what's upcoming, what's the chat doing, did I miss something, oh God, is somebody upset? Like, oh no. How do we contain that chaos, bring it back to that calm, cool, collected version of ourselves, rather than getting derailed so often? How can we zero in on making that lane more straight and narrow rather than kind of all over the place, it feels like sometimes?
Yeah, I think we have to think about our senses. So we have oral and visual senses, and what's happened over the last 18 months is that our oral and visual senses have been bombarded. We've been so laser focused on webcams and Zoom meetings and Google Meet meetings that our brains are fried. So at the end of the day, we're tired. We're like, oh my God, another Zoom call.
Yeah.
Like, just like
the fatigue. Yeah.
Yeah, we're mentally fatigued. And so we have to give our brains, our eyes and our ears breaks. So give ourselves a break between a session. So if we've got a session, give ourselves 15, 20 minutes and don't look at a computer screen. Don't put a headphone on. Go walk outside, look at other things, get our focal points of our eyes looking at different things, get our ears listening to different sounds so that we're mentally, orally, and visually refreshed before we go on to the next session, because that's important. And then when we're in the session, maybe make sure that we have earphones that block out the sound so that we're laser focused there. And then looking at that webcam, making sure that we laser focused on that webcam to build connection, because eyes need to be at the webcam. That
Love it.
Simulates connection. People are like, oh, he's looking at me now.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's another one. I know so many of us, we have the natural habit of wanting to look at the screen or look at the comments, look at, like, I keep looking at you throughout this show rather than the lens a lot. And it is something that we do have to bring back. But as usual, you guys, it's seemingly complex on the surface to reach those pro advanced levels, but the fundamentals under the hood are simple systems and formulas here that he's sharing with us. So just like you said, the good old hard reset, sometimes you just need to hit the reset button, get out of the environment you're in, go take a walk, go look at a different environment, just hit the reset button, come back in action, and you'll likely have a completely different presence and energy. So thank you guys so much for hopping and joining in here. Ian loved that response, getting into sensory data. So as we approach here, we got 10 more minutes to utilize the legendary Alistair while he's with us. Do you have any material or stuff or things that we want to finish in this last 10 minutes, or would you want to just leave it in open, go to an open Q&A here for the last section?
I think we can do open Q&A. Let's shoot the breeze.
Let's fire it up. I know I have been thoroughly enjoying this. I will be utilizing many of these tips here throughout this adventure, and anybody that is curious about doing stepping into the formulaic and systemized version of leveling up your communication. We actually have a free webinar. This isn't a sales pitch or anything. This is something he's doing. As you guys have learned, he loves this stuff and is actually pretty damn good at it. So if you're curious about joining that adventure, I did just drop the link in the LinkedIn chat. Let me go ahead and get into the restream, and it should be on all platforms now. If you want to hop into that Zoom and register, you can get essentially the advanced version of what we're chatting about today in a more systemized setup. So I see Sean Porter in the building. Welcome to the party, brother. We're just using this last 10 minutes for an open Q&A here with Alistair while we have him. So everybody that's joining us, I see we have some people reinforcing meditation. Thank you again, Ian. Gabe dropping a question, which I don't think is valid in the virtual world. He was asking if you've ever had vegetables or tomatoes thrown at you on stage, and hopefully not.
I did try stand-up comedy for a bit because I was an actor, and I was like, I need to do stand-up comedy because that will flex my acting muscle, and it must be done. And I did it. I did 7 shows, I think, and 4 were good and 3 were bad.
Ooh,
And when you're on
interesting.
stage and you're dying and people are willing you to get off stage, that's not nice.
Wow. No, that's a whole nother game. The comedy world, stand-up comedy. I've done a little bit of improv comedy, but they're much more forgiving. The whole point is the experience disappears, and like even when it is an absolute mess, that's like what makes it funny. Whereas a stand-up comedy, that's a much more high pressure, high anxiety. So props to you for even stepping into that realm. And to everybody joining late here, we're wrapping up. So if you do have a question to drop in here, boom, you're good to go. We'd love to hear it. But what we've gone over today is the virtual communication Trinity and the 3 pillars that he has set up for you to optimize your communication in situations like this where you don't have a stage to work with or that physicality. So the pillars that we did talk about, let's make sure I'm taking my notes correctly. We have our physicality and our production value. That's your lighting, your clothing, your appearance when you show up, and then your gestures, your physical presence. Are you slouching? Are you postured correctly? And then the last piece was the power of like vocals and tone and how you can, all the pieces that you can control with your voice. That's the kind of regurgitated version. But for people that are joining us late, what other foundations are part of this experience?
Foundations of the virtual Trinity.
So basically there's a few people probably hopping in late that may have missed the primary pillars. So I just want to give them a chance to hear what are the if they could only focus on 2 or 3 things for each of those categories, what should we make sure we're mindful of and what should we try to optimize?
Okay. So the virtual communication Trinity is production and platform. So production is lights, camera, action, clothes, what you're doing there. And the biggest thing that's going to move the needle there is lighting. Get your lighting right in terms of production. On platform, are you engaging people? Are you asking questions? Are you taking polls? Are you having the chat open? Are you using all the tools available to pull people in to make them engage with your content? Then physicality, stand up. That is the best advice that I can give anybody. It's very simple to do because we all stand. And get a desk stand or get something that you can stand up when you're doing your important presentations, your important sales pitches, whatever it is, that'll move the needle the quickest.
Sure.
Then for the voice, it's breath and breath control, getting into breathing, belly breathing, diaphragmatic breathing. If you've done meditation or any yoga or any of those kinds of practices, belly breathing or diaphragmatic breathing, in through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the mouth is fine as well. That's going to center you. It's going to fuel your physical performance as well as your vocal performance, because stress, tension, and anxiety kills the voice, and it kills your physicality as well.
Sure. Brilliant. Thank you for sharing these foundations. Ian is curious, for when people are working with you or you step into this process, how do you teach someone to get into character? What is kind of the steps that somebody goes through when they start this adventure?
Well, I would say you don't need to be a character. You need to be yourself, because, I don't think, for me as a professional, I'm going to go and tell people to become, Al Pacino,
Mm-hmm.
Me and my little
Yeah.
friend,
Or I guess, performance, stepping into performance mode. I guess the best character to, bring our a still authentic version of ourselves, but the presenter version.
So what actors do is they have what they call objectives. So they might have an objective for the film or the play, and the objective of the film or the play might be to dominate, to seduce, to overcome, to deceive. These might be general objectives. But what you could do in a professional context is you could say, all right, first 5 minutes, I'm super entertaining. And you write entertaining down on a piece of paper,
Okay.
or on your script, on your brief, or whatever it is. Write down your North Star. What's your objective? What is your goal? What are you going to be? And that should fuel and give you some direction in terms of your performance. Then when you get to the apples part of your presentation, you say, oh, when I talk about apples, bring it down. When I get to grapes, I bring it up again.
Yeah.
So you have these markers inside your presentation, or things that say, all right, now I shift gear, now I change, now I'm going to bring it up or bring it down.
Love that. I love that milestone type of thing. It's like using landmarks for navigation. You have a signal, and then when this happens, boom, bring it up. Then in this section, boom, bring it down. Brilliant. As usual, y'all, I think y'all are seeing the theme here. This high level stuff that you think people are doing just naturally because they were born with this charisma is something you can work on and train and condition. So if you are interested in that, I'm going to drop the link for this free webinar. Again, this isn't a sales pitch or anything. This is the next level of doing this right and advancing into your own virtual communication Trinity audit and leveling up experience. So hop into that link and register if you are curious to start the journey with Sir Alistair Davis, who has joined us today on a special episode of Livestream Legends. Any final words? You are linked on the LinkedIn description. Y'all should connect, follow, do all those things here. Where else can people find you or join and connect with you on this adventure?
So my website is jabbatraining.com, JABBA training.com. And it doesn't come from Jabba the Hutt, Star Wars. Everybody says to me that, did you get your business from Jabba the Hutt from Star Wars? No. Jabba the Hutt from Star Wars was a terrible speaker. He was very bad. He didn't stand, he just sat there. That's why he was a bad speaker. So there's a lesson in that for us. That's my website, Jabba Training on LinkedIn. I've started Twitter and Instagram at the moment, but mainly jabbatraining.com or LinkedIn.
Brilliant. Brilliant. We've got you linked up, hooked up. Y'all know what to do. Hook it up. Thank you, everybody that's joining us a little late. I see Usama in the building, as well as Jennifer Brick. We'll be catching the replay. As always, you guys, these episodes are actually archived on my LinkedIn. They're also archived on the Restream YouTube. If you want to go through all of the prior episodes and level up your streaming journey, there's a lot of footage now to go back and check out. So would love to support you at any level of the journey. So today we have brought you the legendary Alistair Davis. Thank you, sir, for sharing your time, your energy, your knowledge with us. We appreciate you, and I will be joining this webinar. So I'll see you at the webinar.
You'll be welcomed with flowers and stringed instruments.
Yeah.
There'll be harps and trumpets.
Love it. Well, hopefully I will catch some of you guys here in the audience there as well. Yeah, that is all we've got, folks. I'm going to go ahead and let our lad go. Thank you. If you have any final words to share.
No,
perfect.
No, I just want to say thank you to you, Travis, for having me on the show. Thanks to all your listeners and guests for listening to me. I hope there was some pearls of wisdom in there that you might use or throw away or abuse, whatever.
There were indeed, according to Usama, there were pearls of wisdom. Exactly. So yeah, thank you so much, man. Appreciate having you.
Cool. Ciao.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we made it. We made it through another episode. If you are curious to start your streaming journey, we have so many options for you, regardless of if you are brand new, you're kind of figuring it out, or even if you've been rocking and rolling for a while, you have options to continuously level up your game. And that's what this show is all about, for you and I and all of us to become live stream legends together. So thank you for joining us on another special episode. I'm gonna let this music rock and roll while we have the final little 30 seconds of our video just rolling out. Thank you guys for joining. Happy Thursday, and thank you for joining another episode of Livestream Legends. Take care.